Hi everyone. Welcome to the annual virtual Crown Council meeting. My name is Paul Vigario. I'm the founder and CEO of SurfCT.com, where everything is connected. We are the IT partner of choice for Crown Council. The last year has been a very interesting and difficult year for most, and I hope that our segment brings you a tremendous amount of value. Here, please watch Dr. Lindsay Marshall pre-COVID.
It was just about my 20-year mark of practice. I wanted to renovate, I wanted to build out a new office. I just wanted to do something to sort of, a fresh start for the next 20. We had always had issues with our computers and with the softwares and integrating everything. We were interested in going up to New York. I had never done the Rosenthal aesthetic courses. I had always gone out to Las Vegas Institute. They were having like an extravaganza weekend. I couldn't go. So I sent the team and Emily came home and was like, all right, I met the guy who can do what you've been talking about, which was all the digital technology in the office. Everything I felt like I was talking about where I couldn't find the person who could do that kind of stuff, Paul was like, I know how to do that. And he would just literally like show me pictures and show me practices. And I'm like, yes, that is it. I've been in practice 20 years. I've had multiple IT companies and no one's been able to seamlessly integrate things. I always felt over the years it was really dramatic when you had issues with computers and stuff. It'd be like, oh, we'll have to get on that. It'll be this big ordeal. They're just like, no problem. Like, we'll be right on it soon, and it's fixed and they understand it. They're just very comfortable and easy to work with and just the nicest people I've ever come across, for sure. When your space reflects what you're really doing, that alone is a connection. I just think the connection is really on every level beyond the technology.
The video you just watched with Dr. Marshall was pre-COVID. Over 20,000 dental professionals have watched that video on YouTube. Next for this segment, we're going to go into a show that we've started called Everything Connected. And you can watch the show on our Instagram at SurfCT.com. Everything Connected is a show that has Dr. Mike Detola and dentists from all over the country talking about their experiences and what happens in their life and their practice when everything is connected. Please enjoy this next segment.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Detola, and I'd like to welcome you to Everything Connected, brought to you by SurfCT.
Everything Connected means pursuing excellence in life and in business, being authentic and true to your values. Ask the right questions to gain the right perspective and build the systems that allow you to achieve your goals. Everything is connected.
SurfCT helps elevate your brand and your life by connecting your vision, technology, and treatment philosophy. With everything connected, your practice can grow and run smoothly. Let's get things started today with the segment we like to call Rogue Wave. Rogue waves are unpredictable, insanely powerful, and catch people off guard, just like the hot takes I give you in this segment. What's up with restaurants and these hygiene seals on the bag they give to DoorDash or Uber Eats to drop off? All it does is seal the bag so the driver can't easily get into the order. But who said I was worried about the driver? I'm not worried about the driver. In my neighborhood, all the drivers are 30 years old and up, seem pretty respectful, especially Uber Eats, Uber drivers supplementing the drop in ride sharing due to the pandemic. Hey, restaurants, I'm looking at you. Chipotle with your E. coli, salmonella, norovirus outbreaks over the last 12 years. Hey, Jack in the Box, Jimmy John's, you've had Escherichia coli on the menu as well. I'm talking to the whole fast casual restaurant segment here. Stop trying to make it like the delivery services are the likely vectors until you get your teenage employees to wash their hands after using the restroom. And if that wasn't such a huge problem, why'd you have to put up signs in every restroom in America reminding them to do it? And why are they using the same restrooms as us anyway? Build them their own restroom where the door won't unlock until they wash their hands for 30 seconds or pass their hands under an E. coli scanner. Cue the outro. We are here today with Dr. Rob Raimonde. Rob, how are you doing today? Thank you for spending some time with us.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, our pleasure. You graduated from the University of Buffalo, got your dental degree. You did a GPR at the Nassau University Med Center, a 3-year PROS program at the Manhattan VA just down the street from you. And obviously that makes you a prosthodontist. So we're going to have the opportunity to speak with you about that and how SurfCT allows you to complete your practice vision for your patients. But before we get started, other interviews like to end with a lightning round set of questions. But we want the audience to get to know you as soon as possible. So we start the interview with these questions. And to keep with our surf theme for SurfCT, we call this the Speedo Round, like the tiny bathing suit that I'm wearing under this suit. So the first question is, when was the last time you were around somebody wearing a Speedo? Can you remember it? Is this a thing in New York beaches?
Yeah, after a pandemic. When was the last time you were around a Speedo? Probably this week I was around a Speedo. My partner, Maurice Golfani, we share an office and we change into our scrubs and he wears pretty much like a Speedo every day.
I feel like now I need to interview him to get all the dirt on what he sees while you're changing. Let me ask you this. What food do you wish didn't exist? Do you have one that drives you crazy?
I wish chocolate didn't exist. As a dentist, it's an issue for me.
If I gave you $100,000, Rob, with no strings attached, but you had to spend it in your practice in the next 7 days, what would you buy?
I would get something to mill PMMA, a really nice thing to be able to quickly mill provisional restorations and prototypes quickly, which I don't have right now. I work with a few labs that do a great job, but that would be really fun to do it quickly in the office.
You're very talented, I can tell just because we've had some time to talk and knowing what you do. I want to hear about something you're not good at.
I think the biggest thing I'm struggling with at times is like a time management, saying yes and saying no thing, right? I want to do everything for everyone, and I'm trying to figure out how do I focus more on just the things that matter, not doing every little thing always.
It can be hard to say no at times. We talk about the GOAT, the greatest of all time. What is the GOAT pizza topping?
Mozzarella and tomato sauce. Go fly to Naples, go to Sorbio, and just get their margarita DOC pizza. That's all you need.
It's all perfection. You need. It is perfection. I know you started using SurfCT back in 2017, but before you tell me about how it's helped your practice and where you are now, tell me a little bit about what your practice was like back in those days. You were still a solo practitioner at that point, correct?
I had a basic restorative family-style prosthodontic practice here in New York City. I took over a team that we kept everybody and just trying to transition from the old style of approach to the new. It was painful, so I'd have to make a list of times that, my wish list of 25 things that I want to work on right now and pick two at a time. Kind of just work on it, chisel away at it.
So did you end up with kind of a hodgepodge of technology and different IT things, and you were kind of in charge of trying to make all these things work together?
I should have took some photos from my old practice, how many wires there were. It like braided, everything was braided. It was, oh God, it was such a mess. It's bad. It was bad, man.
So as part of the reason why you were initially interested in SurfCT was their ability to be kind of an IT solution for you. Modern dentists could really deal with a full-time IT person or an IT department, but of course none of them can actually afford it. Was this part of the appeal for you to get involved with them?
They just seemed different from every optic that I had for them. The IT approach before working with Surf was kind of like, we're going to keep it going. We're just going to make sure you don't shut down. We'll keep you going. You want to take x-rays? We'll make sure that works. Like, okay, but I want to do some other stuff. They're like, what do you mean? We can look into it. It's like, look into it. You're supposed to be suggesting it to me.
When you've got a company like SurfCT that's taking care of these IT issues for you, it frees you up to pursue other things or to try to get better in other areas. Did you experience that once you became involved with SurfCT?
So being able to take, the proper camera, take a quick shot of something that shoots up on that screen in under 5 seconds allows me to focus first on that patient. It allows my team member to focus on the patient, allows me and my team member to work together. And when you start speeding up things that take 1 to 5 minutes to 4 seconds, and you compound that over your day, you start finding time. It can be time that you just want to sit and drink a coffee But there's also going to be times that you're looking at something with your office manager, you're reading something, you're watching you're listening to a podcast, or working on yourself, working on your business. And then all of a sudden, space opens up, time opens up. I talked about the time management thing earlier already. And you find that these technologies just seamlessly work to add time into your life, that you can start focusing on your business and maybe returning the phone call. Now I have 10 minutes for that phone call instead of 1. And now that patient who was worried about their appointment coming tomorrow, all of a sudden they're more comfortable because I was more relaxed.
Right.
Little shifts that sometimes we ignore, or we don't, not that we ignore, but it's so noisy in our day that we don't hear it, we don't see it. Start realizing you're just calmer and more relaxed. Things are working. The duct tape's not being thrown up on the wall of the wires somewhere. It's actually just working.
And I'm going to guess that once you have that more free time to be able to work on those things, work on yourself in those ways, be able to spend more time with the patient, be able to have stress-free technology where you take a picture and 4 seconds later it's on the inoperatory inoperatory monitor. I'm going to guess that this is when you started to see your practice really started to grow. It was almost like this it was the SurfCT that allowed you the time for the personal and professional growth, and thus the practice took off as a result of that.
It's really interesting. As you make more time, you end up getting busier. It's like a funny thing, because being able to have a more seamless practice of the way we answer the phones, communicate with our patients outside when they're not in the office, and the way we communicate them inside the office. Patients felt it. Patients saw it, and they really, whether they acknowledged it or they didn't, they just were getting to where they needed to be faster with taking care of themselves, and less resistance, right, from all of us. And then I became busier, which was like, you're busier, but you're busier doing things that matter more, right? You're not busier trying to put a picture somewhere you can't find it. What folder is it? It's not there. Yeah,
I see over your shoulder now the name of your practice, One Manhattan Dental, which is amazing. That is such a great name. And you mentioned it's branded on the water. You mentioned Paul before, and Paul's the CEO of SurfCT, and part of what SurfCT does, they are an IT solution, but they're also more than that. They're creating customized technology solutions for the way that you, Rob, happen to treat your patients, and fits in with your philosophies and allows you to be more efficient. Talk about that change from being in the old practice to moving into this new one now, complete with this rebranding that we see here. How did SurfCT help you with that, and has it led to more exposure for you, whether it's to patients or to media outlets and things like that?
And we had lunch with Paul going over the proposal, and we're talking about the philosophy of what we do, the vision of where we're going, like our specific goal with our patients and our team, and what we see our practice to be. What is your philosophy for who you are as a dentist? And so Paul threw it out there. We're thinking about naming ourselves, not being just like Raimondi and Scalfani. We don't really love the way that sounds. There's some cool names that you could have for like guys' names. Just not the best dental office sound,
Right.
Sounds like maybe like a funeral home or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
Paul was like, everything you guys are saying to me is just about like one thing. It's about one thing at a time. You guys do one treatment. You're one patient. You're so focused. You're always focused on that one thing through the process of what you're doing. Just call your practice one. And like, we just had a moment where we looked at each other. Kind of really like that. This is what we are. One patient at a time, one doctor. And so Paul worked really hard with his team to help execute the philosophy of what we're doing here in this space, and how that name represents us. And one day, a couple months ago, a reporter found me on social media, and they came and they filmed us, and another reporter found me from that story. And last week, Mark and I were on Inside Edition, and we were in the New York Times, and it's gone on a crazy ride from sitting there having lunch together to, I think that once you start being true to yourself and really give to the people around you, the world starts to respond favorably, and I can't believe what's going on. It's remarkable. I feel so blessed.
Let me see if I can sum up your very long answer in just 2 words. Everything's connected, right? Thank you again, Rob. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to speak with us today and let us see some parts of your practice. Thanks so much, and good luck. Next time out in New York, I want to come by and check out the practice.
Yeah, please do. If you have any questions about anything that we do, I'm here to share, here to give.
I know that to be true. Rob will share that with you, and he's a good follow. Go check him out and see what they are doing. Thanks again, Rob. And now it's time for a segment we like to call Channel Surfing. Locals only! Channel Surfing is the segment where I share with you the best things that I've seen recently. Let's face it, TV has completely changed from when I was growing up and we had only 3 channels to choose from in our house. My dad, the dentist, was too cheap to subscribe to premium services like Cinemax, but I would spend hours in front of the TV on Friday and Saturday nights watching that scrambled channel anyway, because once every 8 minutes the channel would unscramble for half a second and you would burn that image into your brain. I'm pretty sure Cinemax is solely responsible for my partially photographic memory and the reason why I squint so much while I'm trying to look at things. But today, TV is so much more than that. It can simultaneously raise your children and brainwash your grandparents all at the same time. That's some range, TV. This week I had the chance to see a great documentary called The Painter and the Thief. It's on Hulu and it's currently sitting at 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's about a young, struggling artist who paints 2 breakthrough paintings, and she finally gets a long-awaited gallery showing. After the first showing, there's a brazen daylight robbery where a thief breaks into the gallery and steals those 2 paintings, ends up being caught on camera and arrested, but during the depositions testifies he has no idea where the paintings are. The artist goes against the advice of her friends and family, makes contact with the thief while at court, and speaks to him about why he wanted those paintings. And thus begins an unlikely relationship between the painter and the thief that drew me in as we began to learn more about these 2 people, their seemingly completely different backgrounds, and the role they end up playing in each other's lives. The scene where she paints him for the first time and reveals the painting to him will stay with me for a long time. This movie is a great example of everything being connected, including a thief and his victim, and the relationship might inspire you to see things differently with people you no longer feel connected to. For example, your in-law with the insane political beliefs that you have been hoping you can be socially distanced from over the holiday. Now, if like me, you could use a little brushing up on your compassion and forgiveness skills, this is the movie to do it. I'd like to give a final shout out to our sponsor, SurfCT, where everything is connected. Their founder, Paul Vigario, has dedicated his career to dental technology, practice automation, and helping dental practices grow at every level by making sure that all the technology in your office is connected to each other, to you, and your treatment philosophy. Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode of Everything Connected. So on behalf of myself, SurfCT, and Practice Passion, I want to thank you for your time and your continued commitment to quality dentistry.
I really mean that. He wears boxers and says like it said Italia. It said Italia like right here, and like I'm like, oh my, this guy is amazing.
I really enjoy watching Everything Connected. It's really an amazing show that Dr. Dutola brings a tremendous amount of laughs, energy, knowledge, and the dentists around the country share their pearls with us. I hope you enjoyed that segment as much as I did. Our next clip is Dr. Lindsay Marshall sharing her experience during COVID. The first clip you saw with her was pre-COVID. No one could have imagined. But how did the technology help her during COVID? Please enjoy this next segment.
The technology that SurfCT provided as far as the TVs, the iPads, just coordinating everything that we can do electronically or virtually with patients and having that already in place before COVID happened so that we could transition to all of that very, very easily. When I reached out to them to talk about like anything I'd need to change to be compliant with the new regulations with COVID, they were like, it's all already taken care of. And that was just amazing to be able to just hit the ground running. So the day they told us we could, we were ready to go for our patients. And then we had so many new patients call us because they're like, well, my dentist still isn't seeing patients and I have an emergency and my wife comes to you, can I come see you now? And we were ready to go. I even like during COVID when Paul Vigario reached out to me, he just wanted to check in. It was just nice to have that personalized experience with the owner of the company. Literally reaches out, has a Zoom meeting with you in the middle of quarantine to just ask you how things are going and what can he do to help you out. With SurfCT, I think that the possibilities are always endless, so you never really know what's right around the corner. But right now, I think we're talking about marketing and social media ideas and how you do that. We're talking about robotics in the office. We're talking about 3D printing, in-house lab, just so many different things that is always going to improve that patient experience. Whether it's being able to show people what's possible or improving the actual experience here in the office. And I think SurfCT helps us on just every single level of that.
Follow us on Instagram at SurfCTCom. Or if you would like to connect with an expert, use this link below to connect with an expert and discover what can happen for your practice when everything is connected.